Today I'm going to show you guys how to create this colorful smoky eye, one of my favorite types of looks to do. So stick around to see how I did it. I'm first going to be priming my model's eye with the MAC Paint Pot in soft ochre, nothing new, you guys know the drill. I'm then going to be setting, but only above her crease, a matte white ivory shadow because I want to keep her lid as tacky as possible for the color and pigments that we're going to be placing on in a minute. I'm then going to be taking Anastasia's Waterproof Cream Gel Liner in Jet, which is just a black gel liner. I am taking this on a pencil brush and applying this on the outer V of her eye and on the inner C of her eye. This is going to help to act as a base for the colors we're going to be layering on top. I'm then going to be taking a small Real Techniques crease brush and just placing on some black matte shadow over on top just to help with the blending that we're going to need to be doing. I'm then going to be placing on Urban from the Urban Decay Electric palette, which is a bright, vibrant, metallic purple, and just buffing that over on top. So the black underneath really helps make this purple pop and look more opaque than what it would on its own. I'm then going to be taking a little bit more of Urban and mixing it with Jilted, which is more of a magenta color, and just starting to buff this into the crease, going back and forth, leaving the center of her lid blank, and layering on until I'm happy with the depth of color that we've built up. I'm then going to be taking a much larger crease brush, this one's from Luxie Beauty, and taking Savage, which is a bright, hot pink pigment. This is what's going to help bring that vibrancy to the color of the eye and really just help diffuse the smokiness, keeping the very center dark, and then having this really cool diffuse hot pink just kind of burst out from the crease. So I'm going in circular motions over in the crease with this. I'm then taking a clean blending brush and picking up a little bit of a very soft matte pink shadow and just running this along the edges of that crease color, again to just help diffuse it out, make it look as nicely well blended as possible. I'm then taking a flat shader brush and using ColourPop Cosmetics Glitteratti Supershock shadow and just pressing this onto the center of her eye and using my brush to just slightly blend it out into the crease and outer edges, but keeping the majority of the pigment on the very center of her lid. For liner, I don't want to do a wing liner for this look because I really don't want to take away from the color and this round shape that we're creating with the shadow. So I'm just starting off on the center of her eye, lining it towards the end of her natural lash line where it ends, and then just connecting it from her inner tear duct all the way to the center. I'm using my Inglot gel liner, AMC in 77, which is my favorite liner of all time, and a Morphe angled liner brush. I'm then going to be just feeling her skin to see what kind of texture I'm working with. She wasn't very dry, she wasn't super oily, she has that nice normal skin. So I'm using the Nivea Men Aftershave Balm as a primer on her and just smoothing it over the entire surface of her face with my fingers. I'm going to be taking Benefit's Girl Meets Pearl Illuminizer and just placing this on her forehead, her cheeks, her chin, and also the center of her nose. And then with a flat foundation brush, I'm just going to be spreading this evenly across the entire surface of her face. Now you can see that her skin has this nice pearlescent shine to it, which is still going to show through underneath the foundation and just make her look completely flawless. I'm then swatching the foundation shade that I was contemplating using on her just to make sure it will be a good match. I like to swatch on the jawline to see how it's going to coincide with the neck. I'm then using a dense kabuki brush to blend in the foundation. I'm using Milani's 2-in-1 foundation in the shade 01 Creamy Vanilla, which has a lot of yellow to it, which I love because it helps cover up any redness that the skin may have. And I'm just pressing this onto her skin. I did spray my brush with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus before applying. I'm then taking the Tarte Wipeout color correcting palette, and I'm going to be taking the shade 5, I believe, which has that more pinky tone to it, to help clean up not only the fallout that we may have had with the shadow, but also to help cover up any under eye discoloration that she may have, which has a little bit of redness, so the pinky shade will help counteract that. I'm then taking my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I want to say this is NC20. I'm not super positive though because the sticker did come off on the bottom, so I'm not too sure, but it is a MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I'm placing this underneath her eye and also around her nostril. I'm then using a damp Real Technique sponge to just buff this into her skin and foundation. Keep in mind that when you are doing this on another person, you want to be cautious of how much pressure you're applying. Of course, we can beat our own face to our own liking and we know what kind of pressure we can take, but you don't want your client to be uncomfortable in case you are doing this on someone else, so just take your time with blending this out. I'm then taking the Anastasia Cream Contour Kit in Light and using the banana shade, banana shade, and pressing this on the center of her face, spreading it out towards the apples of her cheeks. And I'm also going to be taking a little bit of this on the center of her forehead and just blending outwards and just whatever's left on my sponge, making sure to blend that towards her hairline. I'm then going to be taking one of the contour shades from that same kit and just pressing this against the very edge of her hairline. Whatever's left on the sponge, just pressing it against the bottom side of her jaw. She has a nice defined jaw already, so you don't need to focus too much attention on that. And then taking my e.l.f. stippling brush and just blending that contour shade directly into the natural hollow of her cheek and just blending in upward motions. I am dragging it and aiming it towards the corner of her mouth, but not connecting it. I try to fade it with my brush as much as possible before it becomes too harsh towards the corner of the mouth. I want to keep most of the color towards the back part, and of course just blending it into that highlighted area that we have underneath her eye so there's no harsh lines. I'm then going to be taking a much smaller brush and just doing the nose contour. I like to place a line along the side where I want the nose contour to begin, and then using the side of that same brush to blend it down along the side of her nose, and then just softening up that line so we don't have a harsh line on the center. I'm then taking a little bit more of that cream contour shade and just placing it around her natural lip line. I'm then going to be using the Coty Airspun powder, which has become a favorite of mine. I am obsessed with it, and using this to just bake the highlighted areas. While that's baking, I'm going to be working on the brows. This is a good example of somebody who doesn't want to go too dark on her brows, and this is a great way to show you guys how universal the shade taupe can be. I'm using taupe on her. As you can tell, she has very dark brunette hair, but taupe is such a universal color, and she expressed to me that she doesn't like her eyebrows to be super dark, so I'm just going to be filling them in how I normally do, but using a much lighter shade, which is taupe. Again, universal. Pretty much any hair color can use it and you will be able to get away with it. And I'm just lightly filling in and going in the natural direction of her hair growth. I'm then using the Benefit Boing Concealer. I believe this is the shade 02 with an angled brush, and just cleaning up the bottom side of her brow and making sure to make the tail as sharp as possible. Then using a clean blending brush to just buff away any globs of concealer that may have been left underneath her brow. After we're done with the brows, I'm just going to be blending away all of that baking and then setting her brows with some clear brow gel because any powder may have fallen on there and I don't want her brows to look powdery. I'm then going to be highlighting her brow bone with the Anastasia Illuminator in Starlight. I'm then going to be taking the Anastasia Contour Kit Powder in Banana and then just pressing this along the highlighted areas. Then bronzing with the Benefit Hoola Bronzer along the perimeter of her face, basically anywhere we contoured, because it's going to help just warm up her face but also set that contour to make sure that it lasts all day long. Then to just define the back edge of her contour, which I want it to seem like it has the most depth, I'm using Fawn from the Anastasia Contour Kit with a Luxie Angle Brush and only focusing this on the back part of her contour. I'm going to be doing the same thing for the nose, just reinforcing it with that powder contour and making sure to set it. I'm then going to be highlighting the very tops of her cheekbones with the Anastasia Illuminator in Starlight and a Bobbi Brown eye blender brush, and then taking a regular eyeshadow brush and placing this along the strip center of her nose and also the tip of her nose. I did create a little bit of a break with the powder contour, so I'm not going to connect the strip all the way down. I'm going to make sure to not cover that break. Also, I'm highlighting her Cupid's bow. I'm then taking Bobbi Brown's Pale Pink blush and just pressing this onto the apples of her cheek back towards her hairline. I'm then be taking that same gel liner we used to line the top lashes and pressing this onto her waterline, and I'm also going to try my best to just be very cautious of how much I place beneath her lower lashes. You can get heavy-handed with liner. It can be okay though, but just in case your client is not into a super smoky look, you want to make sure you're cautious. So I just gradually inch my way across. I'm then going to be just pressing and setting that eyeliner with a black matte shadow once again. This is also going to start to create that smoky look, but I'm not going to leave it with just black shadow only. I do want to keep that color going all the way around her eye. So I'm then taking a smudge brush and placing on Urban once again, which is that deep purple we used, and then taking a pencil brush and buffing this all out with a little bit of Jilted. So we have that pink purple color going all the way around her eye, which creates a really nice big round effect on her eye as well. I'm then going to be taking ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in Tassel, which is a super bright white sparkly highlight shade, and then I'm going to be setting that with the Anastasia Starlight Illuminator just to make sure that doesn't go anywhere or it starts to run. For the lips, I am going to keep this very nude and neutral because I want the focus to be on the eyes. And I'm going to overline her lips slightly, just very slightly, with the NYX Pale Pink Lip Liner. So again, it's really close to her natural lip color. And the way to overline is to just go very, very slightly above the natural curve of where her lip begins. That way it looks natural, but you have a little bit more fullness. I'm then going to be placing ColourPop's Midi Ultra Matte Liquid Lipstick, which is a very nude lipstick, but it does have a little bit of a pink tint to it, so it does pair really nicely with the pink that we have going on the eye without it being too matchy-matchy. This gives her lips a nice fullness and pout, but again, it's keeping the focus on her eyes. I'm then going to be just popping on some lashes. These are from Dodo lashes. I can't remember the exact number of them, but they are mink and they are really nice and full, but they're short and they have a little bit of space in between so you can still see the shadow even when her eyes are open. I will list the style number down below in the description box. Once I feel that her lashes are nice and secure and dried, I'm just going to have her open her eye, and I like to just pull down a little bit on the bottom lashes just to make sure nothing's being stuck as far as glue or any lashes that may have gotten stuck to the top ones. I'm then going to be having her look down and just hitting the very bottom base of those lashes just so her natural lashes can bind closer to the false ones. This also gives a little bit of a lift, so it makes them a little bit more comfortable to wear. And of course, you can't forget to coat the bottom lashes in mascara as well. I'm then going to be just setting with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, which is my favorite one of all time. And then this pretty much completes the entire look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I personally love the way this look came out. If you guys have any requests, let me know down below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.